Hello! I am in my attic. Sorry for the lens flare. The sun is coming through this window right here. Today we went to two thrift stores in search of some records because we just got a record player, and one of the basically Matt's been ordering some records online through like eBay, and one of the records had been packaged sandwiched between two others to protect it, and we got like a random, extra, well, we got two bonus records, and one of them was actually really cool, and it was somebody who was singing in French. It was very interesting. I liked it a lot. So we were gonna go out and try to find some good condition records that could be interesting. And I wanted to look at books because I love books and I read all the time. So I got some. First I'm gonna go through a bunch of Goosebumps that I got. I took the entire section of Goosebumps from this thrift store, so I do apologize for any young readers who would have gotten these books instead. It does make me feel kind of shitty, but I will eventually give them to a young child. I really, really wanted to get them because I had a big collection of Goosebumps, about this wide, so a pretty substantial amount of books. I'm actually I've built it up to about half of what I had probably. And the artwork, the cover art, was one of my favorite things, all-time favorite things to look at, the Beast from the East. I just adore that cover art. I did read them as well. I wasn't a huge reader as a child, I really wasn't. So first we have book number 2, Stay Out of the Basement. It looks super cool. I'm stoked to read these, really, I am. It looks like this one's about plants kind of infiltrating people in a zombie-like fashion. That's what it looks like this is about. Then we have a classic, Night of the Living Dummy, where we get Slappy. I've either read this one or the second one, or both. I don't really remember, but this is one of the classic kind of characters that R.L. Stine created. Then I really liked this one, The Girl Who Cried Monster. I still remember the wording of I think she's has her toes in the dirt, and she's wriggling them around. Is that this one? I'm pretty sure that's this one. And then she pretends that she's caught by a monster or something. Oh, I guess I forgot to mention, I used to do book reports on Goosebumps almost exclusively, and then I got too old to do that, and I was kind of bummed about it. Then there's Go Eat Worms. This one's also, I guess they're all kind of classics. This one I don't remember very well. I'm not sure if I had this one, about mummies. Then we have Bad Hair Day. I had to do a science book. It was a chemistry picture book, basically. And I used the theme magic, because chemistry and magic go together pretty well, at least in my mind. This was in 7th grade. And I used this kind of the idea of this bunny, its proportions, to draw my own character. This is also one of my absolute favorite covers. I think it's so cool looking. I'm not sure if I ever read this one, but I love this cover. The kitchen is so rad looking. How to Kill a Monster. Ooh, Goosebumps trading cards inside. For real? They've been taken out, haven't they? Aww. These have writing on the inside. This one's from somebody's grandma, which is very cute. Very good. Then we have Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. I've never read this one. It doesn't appeal a ton to me. Like the imagery on the cover isn't super interesting, but. And then Vampire Breath, and I've never seen this cover before, so I'm pretty stoked about that. It looks pretty cool. So I got this book, Flatterland. So if you've seen any of my book review videos, reading wrap-ups, I've read Flatland and Sphereland. And this is yet another sequel to Flatland. Sphereland was also a sequel to Flatland. And I didn't know about this one, so I'm pretty excited to read this. It's all like mathematical theory type stuff, but in like a conceptualization of a world. So that's why these are always fun. And then I got Never Let Me Go. I've seen this book around everywhere, and I really don't know what it's about at all, but it looks compelling, so I got it. And I got Closing Time, which I guess is the sequel to Catch-22. I've read Catch-22, and I liked it. I didn't know that there was a sequel, and it's by the same guy, so we'll try this out. Then I got The Immortalists, which is another one of those books that I've just seen everywhere. It's a very beautiful book. I don't know what it's about. It seems like something I'd either really, really like or completely be disinterested in. So we'll see what it's actually like. I had to control myself because I wanted to get all of these. Same with the Goosebumps, and because I'd already gotten all of the Goosebumps and I know that I like them. I couldn't do that with these, but I got 3 of them, and they're collections of poetry. Very interested to see like what's actually in here, and I'm hoping it gets me kind of inspired in general for things. Cool. This one is for July and August 2015. This is poetry April 2016. Matt's playing video games very loud down there. And then I got this one for December 2015, which has some cool like tattoo type artwork. And then I got one of these short story collections from a sci-fi publication. So I've gotten, I just really love getting what is it, ace double features and stuff like that. The really short science fiction novella collection things. So this is a collection of 3 novellas, short sci-fi stories, and it has a picture of a big old sea monster on the top, or on the front cover. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I got Shadow of the Hegemon by Orson Scott Card. I read Ender's Game and that like Ender's series. The Quartet I didn't read, Ender in Exile. And then I read Ender's Shadow, and I believe this is the next book that I don't have access to from my library, so I'm gonna read this one. I'm excited about it. I really like that series. I know that Orson Scott Card himself is kind of an asshole and has really stupid opinions, but you know, separating art from artist. I know not everybody does that, but I'm okay with doing that, especially if I'm purchasing a book secondhand. It's a lot better than purchasing it from a store and actually supporting the person that you don't like. Yeah, and then I got the Fellowship of the Ring. I don't actually own the Lord of the Rings books, and I haven't read any of the Lord of the Rings of the trilogy. I've read The Hobbit, which, you know, is The Hobbit, and I think I would like it, so I'm gonna hopefully read these. I'm hoping to read a lot more long fiction next year. So next year I'm hoping to set myself up to read longer books by having less books on my Goodreads like year goal. And then I'll allow myself to read like really short books in between, because I love reading like middle grade books or just short fiction. So I will try to read these over time, putting in all of the other things so that I don't get disinterested. And then I got The Two Towers, so pretty stoked. This cover art is so whack. Like, all of the people look, I guess they kind of look like how you would expect, but they also look terrible. So I didn't get Return of the King because they didn't have a copy of that, but I got these two. Then I got a Scholastic Junior Classic, Wizard of Oz, and I'm really hoping this isn't an abridged version. I was trying to figure it out because sometimes it's hard to tell if books like made for children are abridged if they're classics, and it doesn't look like this is. So I've already read this. I've read several of the Oz books and I really like them. I'd love to own more than just the Wizard of Oz. I'd love to own like the whole series of Oz books, but I think that'll be somewhat difficult to find and not just purchase. I also saw one of my favorite books is The Wind in the Willows, and they had a copy of The Wind in the Willows, but it was actually like a modified version for children to read, which I was disappointed by because I really love The Wind in the Willows and I want like the actual book. I got Ubik, which I'm super excited about, or Ubik, however you want to say it. So I've already read this book. I really enjoyed it though, so I think I'm probably gonna reread it. I wanted to own it. There were so many books that I saw at the thrift store that I've read and really liked, and so I wanted to get them because almost all of the books that I've read for like the past like 3 or 4 or whatever years I don't actually own because they were all library books. So I've been really wanting to actually own the books that I've read and loved. This one's kind of I'm hoping that I like this. I know nothing about it, but I thought the cover art was pretty interesting. So I'm hoping that this is a good book. I have no idea. And I don't know. Then we get to Pachinko. This has been highly recommended by, oh geez, what's her name? The Average Artist. Her name is Steph, I believe. She has an art YouTube channel, but I actually follow her on Goodreads, and she does like a lot of book related stuff. I'm pretty sure she recommended this. I've also seen it in like a bunch of things as like, this is a book. So I got it. It's huge. So I'm a little intimidated by that. Then I got one of the books that I read last year that I really loved, and that's The Buried Giant. I didn't realize how big this book was when I read it because I didn't read a physical book. It was a digital copy, and it's beautiful and I'm very excited about it. So I've already read this and I loved it, and now I have it. And then I got Heidi because I've never read it. I don't know really what it's about, but I know it's a classic. So at least we got a bingo scratcher. That's it. That's all of the books that I got, and I'm pretty stoked to have this chair up here in the attic now to be a little bit of a reading nook. Probably film some reading updates soon. It's been a really long time since I've done one, and I do not remember what I've read since then. That's it.